I would assume there will be some domestic terrorist attack. I would be surprised if there wasn't.
I feel like I know you, Adam Carolla, but this is like first, like live and in person.
Oh, okay.
Come. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I feel like this is a long time coming, yes?
I know, it is.
Thank you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you for doing it. Okay, we have you set up.
Oh my God, you got a cocktail? Mm-hmm. You got a mug. Uh-huh. We got everything.
Just water in the mug.
Yeah,
and then with that, what do you have going tonight? Because that might put you under.
I brought a designated driver.
Okay,
so
good. Okay,
got
good.
that working for us.
Thank you. Seriously, this has been, thank goodness for social media. Like all the evils of social media, there's actually like good parts too. Because that's how we began communicating a couple years ago, like during all the craziness, right?
Yeah, it's been it's been an interesting process, and it'll be an interesting chapter, for people to go back and look at in
like historically.
Yeah, historically, and and I do think about that sometimes. Maybe it's self-serving or narcissistic or something, but we do that a lot. Like you go back and you think about the civil rights movement, and you have all these politicians sort of trying to insert themselves, like Joe Biden met with Nelson Mandela and was arrested at the airport in South Africa or something. It was stuff he never did, right? But we all wish, like I wish there was a picture of me like holding hands with Martin Luther King, like walking across a bridge in Alabama, but there isn't.
But there's not.
You know what I mean? And when it kind of came to a lot of COVID stuff and canceling stuff and that kind of stuff, I was just like, I want to be on record as saying I didn't sign up for this, I don't condone it, and I will stand up against it, and not stand up against, diseases, airborne diseases or anything, but like the part where they're shutting the beaches and, they shut down a place about 5 miles from here called Tin Horn Flats. It's a restaurant, family business, been in the same family for 50 years. I went to high school with the guy who runs it now. And they said, they shut down dining and they moved everyone out to the patio and everyone had to set up all the nuttiness, right? And then the word came down that they were shutting down the patio. So Gavin Newsom said, no more outdoor dining. And Tin Horn Flats was one of the few places that went, you know what, enough's enough. We're not doing it.
Really?
And they stayed open. And they got kind of vocal about it. And now there's an iron gate around the whole place, and it's shut down, and they're out of business, and the family's out of business. But when I heard they were shutting down outdoor dining and that Tin Horn Flats was defying that order, I got my son, and I said, we're going to Tin Horn Flats.
To support.
I'm in La Cañada. Like, I've never even eaten at Tin Horn Flats. It's not close to where I live, but I'm like, boy, get in the car. We're going to go make a statement. And at some point when they're sorting this mess out, I will be on the side of people that went to Tin Horn Flats.
Yes.
And you, son, will remember that your dad, even though it wasn't very popular, was on the side that went and supported the restaurant.
Such huge lessons in that. So no, it's not standing next to Martin Luther King, but you know what? It's our version right now in so many ways. Wait, before you answer.
Yeah.
So I'm always cold.
Uh-huh.
And
women are always cold.
Yeah, you're right. And how about this? Like, I'm to the point where I sleep in like hoodie, sweatshirt, sweatpants, and then fuzzy socks. Like I tuck the pants in the socks. It's a little much. But so I'm always most comfortable with fuzzy socks on. So this is my thing on my new show. And you are more than welcome to
join you in your sock class?
I mean, I won't pressure you and tell you who else, which other men have sat there and have been just fine putting on pink fuzzy socks. But if you really want to join in, then you can take a pair and you can actually keep them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, if I get to keep them, would it be a douche move to pass and then take them anyway? That'd be a douchey move.
Douchey is not what I would have necessarily said. Not about you, at least. It would be soft, maybe.
All right. Well, listen.
I love that you're doing it for me.
I'm a double socker, so I'm not even going to take off.
You know what? I
my
think that's a
original
lie.
sock.
You just don't want me to see your ugly
No, I'm a
toes.
twin socker. I was going to put 2 socks on today before I left.
Because it was raining and 50 here, and that's winter.
Yeah, but I was like, nah, I bet Sage has some socks waiting for me. And so I kind of played a hunch.
You're
but I'm
welcome.
intuitive.
You're welcome. I know. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, I always have to have them on. I bring extra socks on planes and everything. But anyway, it makes me warm and fuzzy and happy and smile. And so I'm like, to me, it's conversational. Do you like? Isn't this all like?
It's very shabby chic.
There you go. That's what I was hoping you'd say.
1999.
Well,
but plush.
99. Where was I in 99? I was working in Tampa, Florida, when the Rays were still the Devil Rays, and that it wasn't offensive then, but it
Oh,
would
they
be
got
now.
rid of the devil?
Remember that?
You know what ends up happening with sports teams is we get so lazy. Like we can't call the Colorado Avalanche the Avalanche. We call them the Avs. Everything's like froyo. Like we don't have enough time to say frozen and yogurt. No, I'm on a schedule. You know, so teams, Buccaneers, Bucks.
Bucks, right.
So I don't know if they drop it because of Lucifer, or they drop it because they're linguistically lazy.
I think this was a woke before woke was woke. Like double. You know, of course, now we're fine with,
Well,
artists and red fire everywhere and Balenciaga and everything else. We're fine with that.
Well, wait, maybe there's something here. Well, it's like the Dixie Chicks became the Chicks.
I can't with that.
I can't either. And Lady Antebellum became
Lady A? Is that?
Lady A.
I think it's A.
Sounds
because
weird.
You're just shortening the same word, which, was anybody offended over that? They did pretty well with that name.
No, and then, teams get shortened. But you may be on with this devil thing, but they just arrested some politician who knocked over this satanic shrine.
The homemade one?
Yeah, so...
But we're fine if they cut off the head on George Washington and all the other statues around, yeah.
I am telling you, you have to watch, because I just watched it today on my podcast. Every year I like to watch this tape of Nancy Pelosi, and she's up there, and she's taking questions, and somebody says, hey, people taken to the streets and just tearing down statues with no permits and no sanctioning from shouldn't we take a vote on this, like the city council and stuff, or you just want an angry mob tearing down statues at night? And she goes, people are going to do what they're going to do. It's like, oh, okay.
Really?
Well, what if those were Trump supporters? Do you think you'd have a different opinion on this? She's a lawmaker. Yeah, she's a lawmaker explaining that people are going to do what they're going to do. We're just destroying public property in the middle of the night. Yeah,
that politician awesome. With that statue, it wasn't even a statue, right? He's going to be charged with something, but all of the people who we have on tape desecrating or destroying the statues of, history, there's nothing. There's no, so I feel like that's where I struggle. And I obviously pay close attention to what you say, and I'm so grateful for your voice. But I think it's just, in many ways, it's a lack of consistency. It isn't even about the topics themselves. It's kind of the hypocrisy where, with Nancy Pelosi, that example you just gave, like, what's the rule?
I think what is creating this sort of fissure in our society now is the hypocrisy and the sort of one-sidedness of things, And if it's like, you guys turned a blind eye to Black Lives Matter's lighting stores on fire, looting, CHOP autonomous zones in Portland where people were building their own cop-free zones and lighting the police precinct on fire. You had no problem with that. But the guy who brought his son to protest in front of the abortion clinic, you're sending federal marshals and a SWAT team to his farm?
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. So if they just turn a blind eye to everything, then at least you'd go, well, it's consistent.
Consistent.
It is not that. It is, dude knocks down the mannequin of Beelzebub in the State House. they're all up that guy's ass. You knock down any founding fathers, any statue anywhere, no rest, no anything. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And I think, it's basically like saying, back to a sports metaphor or something, like I'm a Rams fan and you're a Dolphins fan or something. And it's like, at some point, the refs are clearly calling everything for my team. And I'm sitting around going, yeah, good. And it's like, yeah, but that may change. And you may be on the losing end of that. And also, is that what you want?
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about the other day, like, as all the Trump, all the stuff with Trump and all the legal, and he's been indicted 91 times and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, if that was, and everyone's fine with it. Everyone on the left is fine with it. No problemo. They cheer it on. CNN loves it. Everybody who lives in Santa Monica loves it. If you flip the script and like Trump was sending his DOJ after Biden and hauling him into court and had 15 different court cases going, and then we started finding out that the DAs were running for election based on stopping Biden and stuff like that, I wouldn't be okay with it. I would say, no, this is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I mean, look, I hope my guy wins the election, but let's have a vote. But they don't have any qualms about it, which is kind of weird. Like, they're excited. And you're saying, like, wait a minute, he estimated the worth of Mar-a-Lago at this much, and they say it's that much, but everyone got paid back and stuff. Like, if they were doing that with Biden, I'd be like, you guys got to leave him alone and have an election and see who wins.
Yes.
And then why are you more embarrassed by this, you people who cheer it on constantly?
Well, and it's because it seems to be so consistent and prevalent on the left, and again, the right is not innocent, right, in many, many ways, but with this in particular, and the election. And, oh, by the way, I always say, why aren't people talking more about this? Well, Trump's going to win, or da-da-da. After 2020, why does anyone think anything is going to be honest, is going to be valid? There's videos and videos upon videos that we've chosen to ignore, with the ballot stuffing or finding them in a ditch and then you shove them all in, and then the nursing home with, like, there's zero trust. So I don't know why anyone thinks we can even predict this time, except for the fact that it doesn't feel like they're willing to stop at anything to make sure Donald Trump doesn't get back in office. And so if it's not the 91 charges, it's something else. And that's the scary part to me, because I fear for his safety.
Yeah, that's a legitimate concern, and it's been, brought up a few times. And I was, again, trying to sort of philosophically kind of think about Trump and Democrats and elections, and I share your concerns. But I was thinking about it. It's like, if you're a Democrat, you had 8 years of Obama, and then you got 4 years of Trump, and now we'll have 4 years of Biden. So that'll be, 12 years of your way, 12 years of that, and 4 years of the other guy in charge. And could we just have an election and maybe you don't get your way?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be something? And I think we all know it's going to be something. It's an all-out whatever. And it's like, so this guy gets elected and gas prices go down a little bit, and maybe your mortgage rate. Could you live with that or no?
Can we live with not having the influx of 15, 20,000 people a day coming across, that when we can't take care of our own? No, I think, and to me it isn't even political. Obviously, almost everything is turned political, but overall, when you look at the sidewalks in any major city and you see what's happening, and for me, it's a humanity thing. And if we can't take care of our own, and I know you do too, pay close attention to veterans and so many people in need. And we have to minimize. You got to pick and choose. We can't do it all. No one can. And so to continue to allow that is scary and dangerous in a million different ways, but Trump won't. He won't. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but he has said it, and I trust that he's going to do whatever in his power. So, okay, you said it, gas prices, mortgage rates, immigration gets curbed a little bit, illegal immigration, gets curbed a little bit. And for me, safety and just national security in general, which it has been another level of fear in my mind as a citizen in the last 3 years.
Well, I mean, considering there's so many nations that have, declared a fatwa on the United States, and that the people coming over the border, obviously not just from Mexico, Central America, they're from globally coming over the border, it would make complete and utter sense that if you were planning on destruction or an event, a large-scale terrorist event, that you would definitely, with an open border, porous border, send some of your foot soldiers over to come across, start sleeper cells. And I mean, I would be totally surprised if they weren't doing that. You know what I mean? So I would assume that there will be some impending domestic terrorist attack. And again, I would be surprised if there wasn't, because the thing about terrorists and cartels and gangs and criminals, they take whatever we give them.
Right.
And you go, well, Mexico used to deal in weed, you know what I mean? And then we decriminalize weed. And they're like, all right, we're going to fentanyl and human trafficking.
Yeah, now look.
They'll just do whatever the opening is. They adapt, you know what I mean? And they're fluid. And so they don't have the resources and the might to, roll in tanks and take over this country. We leave them an opening, they'll get through the opening, and then they'll do what they can do. So, you go, oh, in California, it's a misdemeanor retail theft under $950. Oh, they go to $949. I mean,
sweep it off
that's how
shelves
criminals work. They'll take whatever we give them, they'll take it. And so I would assume there's some bad characters coming over the border.
Oh, for sure. And again, just like when people say eradicate racism, yes, that would be great. And guess what? As long as there's humanity, there's going to be some sort of racism or prejudice. And that is the imperfection of all of us as human beings. So the goal is for all of us to be better, but it's not going to be fixed in my opinion.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how much built-in racism there is. I think we dismiss it too quickly. We're like, oh yeah, everyone's a little bit racist, or it's kind of built in, or whatever. I think there's a lot more. I think what we do as a society that we can't stop is we do a lot of judging, and then when we start judging, we start assigning races, sexes, genders, age, like you're hearing some news story and they'll go, some teens broke into a sporting goods store and grabbed everything and smashed someone over the head. And you go, oh, it's black kids, I know it, that's black kids. But then you'll hear other kinds of crimes and you'll go, oh yeah, that's not the black people, they didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like we'll start, and then at some point, we'll see the footage on the news and we'll go, yeah, I was right. So we do a lot of categorizing.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of that, and we do a lot of profiling. And I think the problem is it's like, we profile every time you go out and walk in your neighborhood and there's somebody walking toward you with their dog, you're profiling the dog. Right?
You're right.
What's the breed of the dog? Is that a dog? Is that a Doberman? Is it a Labrador? And is its tail wagging, or does it look agitated? You know what I mean? And it's a self-preservation thing that is just built in. It's like profile. And it's also like a lot of this, like, this isn't something I see in that's a new dog. I don't know who that dog is. I don't know who that owner is. Like all of a sudden profile. Right? That's constant. And I think that's baked into the cake for like every human being is the profile thing. And it's like they take something like, they go, well, cab drivers in New York, like a black man couldn't hail a cab at night, in New York. And I go, oh, all right. And so on its face, it feels racist. But then you go, who's driving the cab?
That's what I was going to say.
Irish guy? You think Conan O'Brien's driving the cab? No, it's some foreign guy who's driving the cab, right?
Yes.
And then what happened? Well, he turned on the news and he saw the black guy got busted for the aggravated assault or whatever. And now he's driving a cab going, I'm not going to pick up the black guy because I'm going to pick up an Asian lady.
Yeah.
Because there's a lesser chance she's going to bonk me on the back of my head, right? That goes on constantly. But I don't think it's just racist. I think it's a profile that everyone does with everybody, which I do when I drive. Like I don't I get behind someone and I can't see their head above this headrest. I'm moving over.
Yeah.
Or I see like too many stuffed animals in the back or something. I go this guy's slow.
Yeah, I judge the stuffed animals too.
You should.
So I'm anti-stuffed animals. So I should be punished for that.
That's not a fast driver.
No. But if you can't see their head, then that's an older driver? Then we're against older drivers?
Like old meets it says old lady to me. It doesn't say jackrabbits start, I'm going to bump draft you to the freeway on ramp. It is like, that person looks slow.
Yeah,
and I see some guy looks like Vin Diesel in a Dodge Charger, and I'm like, I'll slide in
behind.
That's
the one.
This guy. Now, you can go, you don't know that guy. You don't know her. You don't know that bald guy in the Charger. I'm like, you're right. Don't know.
Hi, guys. Thanks again for watching my new show. Today, I want to really thank you by telling you about something great, meat. So there's a company called Good Ranchers, and they're America's #1 meat delivery service. And they just launched their new King Box full of thick-cut bone-in ribeyes, which are my favorite, center-cut filet mignons, and thick-cut bone-in New York strips. All of them are sourced from local family farms and aged 21 days to perfection. Buy one today before they sell out at goodranchers.com. Good Ranchers is offering free bacon for life with any new subscription. And if you use my code SAGE, you'll receive 2 packs of Good Ranchers uncured applewood smoked bacon with every single order. So go to goodranchers.com and subscribe to any of their custom curated boxes filled with 100% American beef, chicken, pork, or wild-caught seafood. Use my code SAGE at checkout to claim your free applewood smoked bacon for life. If you needed any other reason to support Good Ranchers, they're not only amazing partners of my show, thanks again, but they support the paralyzed veterans of America too. Every order saves American farms and supports American veterans. So change the way you buy meat today at goodranchers.com. Use my code SAGE to claim your free bacon for life. That's the thing is, of course there's going to be issues and we all need to be better. I feel like everyone is so much more aware than ever. And if you're not, then you're completely hiding under a rock these days, especially after the last several years. Maybe it's my glass half full, maybe it's just my own experiences, which by the way, that's what almost all of our opinions and prejudices are based on, is our own experiences. For the most part, social media, yes, but what I have seen and felt, I just don't know that everything is as malicious as some would like to make it out to be.
Oh.
And it's just, the dog analogy is perfect.
Oh, I got a better one.
Okay, go.
Or equal. My Tootsies are so toasty right now.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Are they toasty or sweaty? Because toasty's good.
There's only one way to find out, really. So I'm going to need an assist on this.
I'm not helping.
Okay. All right.
You can take off. The thing is you played the game, so thank you. So now I'm not going to judge you, because if you hadn't, then I would have, had a little, probably based on prior experience, been like, oh, he's insecure. He's not putting my socks on. I would have judged.
Well, listen, a lot of ladies have foot fetishes.
No, you guys are the ones with the foot fetishes.
It's rarely spoken about, but it's a thing.
You guys have it, not us.
No, that's Rex the way Ryan, you guys spin it.
Remember Rex Ryan?
Of course.
And his foot fetish, all you non-sports fans, the former Jets coach, and he was like on camera talking about his wife's feet, and it turned him on.
I wish I had that. I really do. But let me get back to my thesis.
Wait, did you answer though, real quick, and I'll move on. because you're the star here.
You may have a foot fetish.
No,
is what
I
I'm
really
saying.
don't.
Well, that's what you would say.
I'm saying,
And this is all part of an elaborate ruse to get a look at my tootsies. And that's why I left my socks on.
well, the fact that it matches your shirt, that says a lot. You do care.
I do care.
But toasty versus sweaty. We're going to go with toasty.
Yeah, that's sort of Quiznos versus
Versus Subway?
French dip, you know, like a, yeah.
Ugh.
I like the dip. All right. So what we're talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you something.
I said the dog analogy was great, and you said I have a better one.
I do, and I think here's the problem that oftentimes happens in our society. Of course, the media stokes the fire and coaches along and helps along and stuff like that. What Black people do not realize in large groups, or what they don't really understand, is that many people are assholes, but they're not racist.
Right.
And so I've lived in several houses around California, Los Angeles. In almost every house I've lived in, I've had an unreasonable asshole who lived next door. I mean, way over the top. I had a house in Sherman Oaks. I was doing some construction on it, some work on it. One day I picked up the phone and I was trying to call like Anawalt Lumber or Home Depot or something like that. And I picked up the phone. I was like, Anawalt? I was like dialing, and I could hear a voice on the other side. I was like, hello? And she's like, hello? And I'm like, is this Anawalt Lumber? She's like, no. And then she's like, I'm at this address. And she said, this is your neighbor. It was like an older white woman, you know? And I said, oh, maybe something got crossed with the construction or something. Sorry. And I hung up the phone. 10 minutes later, a cop car showed up. I was like, what's with the cop car? Your neighbor called the cops. I said, we just had a phone little mix up. You know, I didn't hack into her phone line or anything. She called the cops. I said, okay, if I was Black, I'd be like, this bitch is racist. Like, how else can I process this? I had neighbors in several houses. I had a house I completely rebuilt and did everything. The guy called the Department of like Building and Safety and Sanitation, said I was living in unsanitary living conditions, like literally called marshals over to my house. I had another crazy lady when I lived in the Hollywood Hills who was constantly on me and bugging me. They're nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm white. And so here's my white privilege. That bitch is nuts. If I was a Black family, I'd be like, these people are all clearly racist. I'm doing nothing to harm them. I'm doing nothing to threaten them. They must be racist. And what you realize is when you're just a white heterosexual dude walking around, you realize there's a lot of assholes and douchebags and people that just like, you know, like you bought a ticket, you go into the movie theater, and then you try to walk out, and you go like, my wife's cold, she wants her sweater, do you have your stub? You're like, no, but my car's right there, I can't let you back in. You know, and you're like,
but I'm already
the car's right there, I'm just gonna leave. Wait, sir, if you don't have your stub. And it's like, this stuff happens all day, every day.
Yeah.
And if I were Black, I would start thinking, we live in a racist society instead of a society filled with asswipes or over-officious jerks.
Maybe there's just some miserable people that have happened to be your neighbors.
I've had a lot of them, yeah.
Right? And I assume they're all white, and they see you. Like, that's the thing. They're
Oh, I wouldn't live next door to
humans.
Black people if that's what you're talking
Obviously
about.
not.
No, you're talking I profile.
I know you're doing a favor to be here. Like, I do one a year with these people. One.
This is it.
You're welcome again.
I do this, and I watch the Medea series, and then I'm over.
So you are tolerant.
Very tolerant.
Yes. Yeah. How do you live in Los Angeles?
Ugh. It's horrible. I grew up here, so I grew up out here. I was in it was kind of a jock in high school, and then I got into construction, and I just kind of worked here. And then, I always had the goal of trying to get into comedy or do something in comedy. And so I was living in the place where everyone else was coming to try to make it in comedy, except for I grew up here.
It's home.
So I was like, and then at some point I started to get some traction with comedy and then of course, where am I going to go? I'm here, and this is where everyone shows up to do comedy. So, and then I had some success in comedy, and I was like, well, I have studios and colleagues and partners, and, we're all, but now it's time to move.
Is it? Like, are you to that point?
Yeah, well, I have twins, and they're in their senior year of high school, and I didn't want to pick up and, tear up their roots, So people always go, when are you leaving? And I go, I will be attending their high school graduation in a U-Haul. I may not get out of it. I may just park, honk the horn and flash the high beams.
When you hear their names. And their twins will be back to back, so like.
They'll be back to back. I probably won't be able to hear them from where I am, but when I'll see them come across the dais, or hell, the boy might not even graduate. I don't know. Either way, tooting on the horn, some high beams, and then right into the U-Haul.
Love you guys.
Love you, and I'll just be backing out.
And you'll be backing out, driving to...
Well, that's a sad testimonial about California and so sort of recent downturn in LA as well. Because growing up out here, nobody left.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool to leave, And the notion of moving out of LA and going to like one of the Carolinas or Nashville or
Texas, Austin.
I mean, that's like everyone said, you watch the beginning of the Beverly Hillbillies, that's how it worked. They lived over here and then they came to where we are and I was already there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a weird, rare, moving to a place like Wyoming or something would have been unfathomable, unheard of. I didn't even know where any other, when you grow up out here, you don't even know where, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Right.
Where's
it's a different
that?
World.
Why would you go there? You know what I mean? So that was unthinkable. And every once in a blue moon, somebody would go, well, he sold his business and him and his wife are moving to Maui or something. And you kind of go like, well, all right.
I see that.
I see you moving to Maui. Yeah, but that was it. Nobody left. They might retire and go somewhere or something. And now when people go, well, where are you going? It's like, anywhere. Texas, Florida, one of the Carolinas, Tennessee, there's like 15 places, and that's sad because I don't even have a place that I need to go. There's a difference between going, I want to live out my retirement years in Maui, or I got to move to Arizona because I have bronchitis or something. This ain't that. This is just, I have to leave.
It's sad.
I don't even know where I'm going. This isn't me cheating on you for another woman. This is, I hate you so much, I'm moving into a motel room and not dating for 6 years.
It's so sad.
It is.
Because as someone who's not from California, I'm really I don't have a home. My dad was military and I've lived all over the world and any place can be home. And I actually love that experience. But from the outside looking in, I mean, California was always like heaven. And to me, the most beautiful state, the most diverse state when you look at just the topography, when you can go to the redwoods up north and you have the desert and the mountains and the ocean and the weather. It's gorgeous. It's the perfect state. The food here is better, right? Everything's fresh and grown in wine country. There's no better state, in my opinion. And they've ruined it. And I'm so sad because I have always loved to visit. And even that has changed. So I can't imagine when it's your home, when you've witnessed it, go to the level that it's at right now.
Yeah. And it's all sort of self-imposed, man-made.
Self-inflicted completely.
Self-inflicted. Yeah. And that's the weird, sad part about it, is it totally unnecessary, all super avoidable. been going down this path for a while, could have pumped the brakes, never did. You know, people, I'm fond of saying that, you know, people go, you know, I do talk to people that are from here, born and bred here, and Dr. Drew's from here, I'm from here, Attorney Mark Garagos is from here. They're all sort of old school friends from California. And I just, you know, I say to a lot of people, like, when's it end?
Yeah.
When do we change course? And the number one answer is we haven't bottomed out yet. We're getting near it. We haven't totally bottomed out. And then I say, why is it necessary to bottom out? Like, I would say it's like saying, you know, I was looking for some stuff in my son's room and I found some syringes and a baggie of heroin, but he hasn't flatlined yet. Like I've not walked in and seen foam coming out of his mouth and him convulsing. God. And you go, yeah, I know, but why don't you get him in some treatment now?
Before.
And you go, yeah, but because his heart hasn't stopped yet. And it's like, yeah, I know, but why do we have to bottom out? Why we know where we're going, let's reverse course. California and Los Angeles can't do it.
And San Francisco.
Oh, and San Francisco. Oh, well, whatever. Well, all these areas, these are really blue areas, are like, we had a recall of Gavin Newsom. No, yeah, we voted him right back in. We had Rick Caruso for mayor. I mean, the guy who started the Grove and all these other super successful, safe, clean places. And we went, no, we want a career politician to keep on keeping on whatever the horrible policies were. So we get Karen Bass. And it's like, we won't do it. And it's so bizarre. And it's so like, it's all, you know, a lot of it's identity politics and stuff like we have this super competent guy. Yeah, he's old and he's white and he's rich. It's like, okay, he's rich because he starts all these businesses and they're super successful. So he knows what he's doing. It's like, nah, we want this woman. She's a woman of color. I trust her. And it's like, all right, but she doesn't have any experience. She can't run the city. It's like, well, that's who we're going with.
For a place that has...
We get what we deserve, and we deserve it. I mean, my mom, right before she died, I was like, listen, I'd rather let Larry Elder be the governor than Newsom. And she's like, I don't know about, I think it's funny about her, super progressive white lady, but Larry Elder being black doesn't mean anything to her because he's on the wrong side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you know?
Yes.
So, you know, she goes, I don't know who Larry Elder is, but I know Gavin Newsom's a Democrat. And I'm like, that's how we vote. My Dumbo moms was like, ride or die with Gavin Newsom. And it's like, can you just admit you made a mistake and try something else? And it's like, no, we cannot. And
it's fascinating to me because there are so many people who will tell you how highly educated they are here, you know, who just stubbornness, pride, like I don't know what it is, but if this isn't the bottom, I don't want to see what is. And,
well, we're getting there, I think.
Okay, so when's graduation?
Well, that'd be, I don't know,
Mid-June.
Yeah,
I have
several
a senior
months.
in high school too.
Oh, you do?
And will be leaving Connecticut. I was asked to wait until she goes off to college in August. So fine, I can't be there on June 14th. But same thing, I'm in Connecticut, which is second only to California, with all of the things and the politics and the taxes, et cetera, like all of those things. You know, at the end of the day, I think people take politics so personally, and the politicians for whom they're deciding, you know, do I vote for this person or that person? If only people could look at these candidates for their policies and not for their personality or how they make you feel, then I feel like this could be a completely different situation, not just in California, but everywhere. But people can't let go of how someone hurt their feelings or made them uncomfortable. Like, to me, pretty much everybody's a scumbag in politics. Not everybody, it's not fair. See, blanket statement, not fair, racist, whatever. But I don't care, because morally, I can't, you know, that's you. You answer to that, your wife, your God, whoever it is. But for your policies, that's all that matters in this realm for me. People can't do it. your state would be in a completely different, and again, to me, the most beautiful, wonderful state in the union, be in a different position if people could let go of their feelings with voting.
Well, something very dangerous started several years ago, and maybe, Obama didn't start it, but he certainly sort of supersized it, which we got into this weird thing where you go, I'd like to have a beer with that guy. And I think it's like, you're never going to have a beer with Barack Obama, but his policies will affect you if you're a business owner or whatever. So you're never having a beer with any of these guys. So stop using that some sort of yardstick to measure whether you're going to vote for someone or not. How about we just get their policies and we'll leave the you never having a beer fantasy. We'll get you're never going to have a beer, get it off the table. Let's go pure policy and vote for the person that has stronger policies.
Period.
And we don't do that. And Gavin Newsom's success is, I like to have a beer with that guy. And it's like, he's a narcissistic douchebag. I've interviewed him on my podcast years ago. He's a slippery eel of nothingness. He says nothing. He says nothing. He's a sociopathic, narcissistic, empty bag. And we vote for this guy. He says nothing.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. That's the scary part of this equation.
Arguably
My mom is voting for Gavin Newsom no matter what that pile of shit does. And he's insane. He doesn't even make sense when he talks. Like when he was on my podcast, I was like,
when was this?
This is 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
He'll never be on again. I'd have him on tomorrow.
Oh,
but
he's
a
not
coward.
coming on to talk to you.
He's not coming on. Your viewers and listeners will they can find it on the internet.
I'm going to go back and find it.
They will enjoy.
Yeah.
They will enjoy our discussion.
How long did it last?
Well, the part that an hour, but the part that everyone enjoys is he was talking about predatory check cashing places that were predatory toward Black and Hispanics. And, he wanted to end that. And then I said, what's wrong with Blacks and Hispanics that they have to use these predatory check cashing places? And he just kept saying and then he kept saying it affects everyone. And I'd say, why'd you say Black and Hispanic if it affects everyone? And he said that because it predominantly affects Blacks and Hispanics. And I'd say, why does it predominantly? And he'd say, there's no reason why, it's just what it is. And then he said it would be, and then I'd say again, then why'd you bring up Black and Hispanic? And then he'd say, it affects everyone. And then I'd say, oh, you'll go nuts.
I cannot wait.
Listen.
I'm sad. I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it.
I'm embarrassed
for me
to say this.
Oh.
You think you like me now? When you see this,
really,
you're going to open an Adam Carolla fan club.
Decade ago. Well, there's already several of those. But from a decade ago, even.
I'm unaware of those clubs.
When people weren't as vocal against him.
10 years plus ago, I lit into him bad for a long time. And he had nowhere to go and nowhere to wiggle out of. And he had to sit there and there wasn't any commercial breaks. And we just went round and round and round. And so I was like, all right, so if I go down to the check cashing place, I'll see a lot of Jews and Asians there. And he's like, you see everyone there. And I was like, why'd you say Black and Hispanic? Because it disproportionately affects. And I'm not overselling it. I went into him for a long time.
I can't wait.
He's a buffoon. He's an idiot. I said to him, what's going on with traffic? We have such horrible traffic in LA, especially the worst in the world. Like, why aren't we doing something about it? Why isn't there a plan? Where's our traffic czar? What's going on? And he goes, I saw this billboard. I kind of liked it. It said, you're not in traffic, you are traffic.
What?
It doesn't mean anything. The point is that's how he talks.
Because he says it with enthusiasm, and therefore it's
he told me, I told him 10 years ago, I go, look, we got a homeless problem, and the homeless problem are people with mental issues and drug addiction. That's the homeless. And he goes, let me tell you the real face of homeless. Mother of two, divorced, full-time, minimum wage job, doesn't have anywhere to go. And I said, that's not homeless. There's no
no.
home. That's not
That's not
homeless.
true.
It's drug addicted people with mental disorders. And he tried to explain to me 10 years ago that the real face of homeless was a sober mother of two who was freshly divorced and had a full-time job at McDonald's.
My God.
He's a sociopathic.
To pretend to have empathy.
He's a buffoon. He is a 10-cent head. Look, people watch the debates or the sound bites or whatever, he lies. You sit in the same room with that guy and nail him down.
Was it face-to-face?
Yeah.
Oh.
He would have hung up if that was on Zoom. Computer down.
Oh, my God.
He's a narcissistic 10-cent head buffoon, and nobody knows it. Or I don't know, or people in California are too dumb to realize
they are
that who he is.
choosing to ignore it. That's what they're choosing to do. And then with what you've seen, leading up to the 2024 election, and let's trot him out there and let's debate Ron DeSantis, even though you're not an official candidate. And, okay, great, you look the part. Congratulations. But hey, why not, Adam? Because look what happened to his friend Kamala Harris. Like, she couldn't even do anything in her state, win anything in her state, but became second in command in the greatest country on the planet as a vice president. So he doesn't have to care. He doesn't have to. More importantly, it's a big deal, right? I mean, let's just start work-wise for you to leave Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't want to leave Los Angeles.
But you're done. You've decided.
Yeah. Yeah, as many others have.
Oh, millions. But the problem
millions.
is I'm like, okay, now you're going to Arizona and Nashville and you're going to bring your politics. I lived in Scottsdale for a while, 10 years ago, and there were so many Californians coming into Scottsdale. And we're all like, listen, don't ruin this. It's really great here. And look, so I think that's the fear. It's like, please, you ruin that. Don't bring it here.
Because they're so self-righteous that they think the real problem with, getting back to my poor dead mom is they cannot course correct. They can't just go, I made a mistake. This guy's an idiot. I shouldn't have voted for him. I was, maybe, I think the problem is, if you go back to Bill Clinton era, yeah, I was a Democrat and Bill Clinton made sense to me. But Bill Clinton was talking about a robust border and lowering taxes and, things that I agreed with. And then something happened along the way and they went nuts. And what I'm saying to normal people is, all right, you're not leaving the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They left you because they're obsessed with the trans community and they don't care about the border. That's not your fault. That's their fault. They went nuts. Now, admit you didn't make a mistake. You were with them when they were talking about, topics that you thought were fine, legalize gay marriage, decriminalize marijuana. Yes, good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And then they started going nuts and they become all in. They're all race hustlers who never stop talking about the trans community. And now I'm out.
And I do get, offended isn't the right word, but I laugh when they tell me how I'm supposed to feel as a woman of color, woman of color.
Yeah.
And that's racist, that's offensive. I'm like, is it as a white woman? So you're telling me what I need to be offended by? And oh, by the way, you mentioned Bill Clinton. I love the morality police were off, I guess, for a couple of years and didn't care about that lack of morals with him.
Right.
And with Trump, it's a little bit different. But again, though, like for you to leave, how does that change your career? How does it change all of the things that Adam Carolla is doing right now?
I write books, I make documentaries, I tour around the country and do stand-up shows. I do a podcast. All stuff that's doable from wherever, because of the sort of new, maybe the one good thing that came out of COVID is people kind of realize, like, I don't necessarily need to go into the office.
I think that is one of the silver linings.
In the past, for me, it would have been like, well, they taped the Man Show at Hollywood Center Studios, and you guys go every Friday, so you got to be there. You got to be there every day to sit in the writer's room and write and tape bits. And, so like in the past, I did syndicated radio. That was Westwood One in Culver City, and then it would be doing the Loveline TV show, MTV. That was Hollywood Center Studios as well. Like I'm on a sound stage. There's a live audience. Not really an option to pick it up and pull up stakes and go to Nevada or whatever back then. But you can write a book anywhere. You can make a doc pretty much anywhere. You can do a podcast anywhere. So you're not really tethered as you were before. I don't have any business. My Hollywood business is, I don't audition for sitcoms. I've clearly got myself off the list of potential people to do, certain TV things. And
based on your views?
I would assume,
Have you had those conversations with anyone in Hollywood or the entire industry? Because, you might be the only one who has survived, even though things have changed.
Yeah, I tried to get a film into Sundance like 13 years ago at the beginning. I wasn't even really blacklisted or anything then, but the guy ran Sundance went, not a fan. You know what I mean? Like I've been aware that there's been some politics that didn't even have to do with politics back in the day. Just guy didn't like me. You know what I mean? Didn't want me crashing his film festival, And so I've always been kind of aware that you're not going to be able to say all the things you say and get asked to do films and TV shows and
you're okay with that?
Invited to the cocktail parties. I've made some really good documentaries that I would like to have shown at Sundance. And, they're, you go on Rotten Tomatoes and you look up my documentaries, they're all in the 90s and stuff like that. And I made a kind of civil rights-y one about the Willie T. Ribbs, the first black race car driver at Indy. And it was, on everyone's top 10 list, but didn't get into Sundance, And from a business standpoint, it'd be nice to get the movies into Sundance and then have a little bidding war and then sell them, So economically and sort of from a business standpoint, I'd like to get into Sundance, and I'd like to be invited to all the parties, and I'd like to have roles in sitcoms or movies or something like that. So that's what I would like. But I do say what I want to say, and I'm a comedian, and I just don't think that's negotiable. I just have to say what I want to say, and I have to like the people I like and dislike the people I dislike. And so it would definitely be better financially to take another path, but I don't feel like I have a choice in it. And I'm independent enough and good enough that I don't really need, the casting director to like me or something in order to feed myself, I kind of knew it early. I mean, I've been podcasting for 15 years now. So I was sort of like, I don't think you and Hollywood are going to be like a long-term marriage. So I think I should be a little more independent, work out of my own warehouse, have my own studio, write books and do things that are sort of off to the side. Because I guess I always knew that you're not going to be able to say everything you want to say all the time and be invited to this party known as Hollywood, There
are costs, for sure. There's a cost to be true to yourself if you don't follow the current narrative.
But what's the cost of lying or pretending you're down with nonsense, or what's the it's a soul-crushing cost, I would say. Your dignity or whatever. I mean, I don't want to sound holier than thou or anybody else. I'm just like, I don't have a choice. You know, sometimes people...
Based on your core beliefs and values and based on your own principles. That's what you mean when you say you don't have a choice?
Yeah, I don't even have core beliefs or values. I'm just like, look, I'm a comedian. I say what I want to say. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And I always tell everyone, I'll go back to swinging a hammer. If I got to start lying, then I'll just go back and swing a hammer because I have a trade. And there's some dignity with a trade. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be a comedian and follow everyone like sheep over something like COVID or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a choice is the way I've presented it, at least to myself.
And to your son, to both your kids,
Yes,
but to your
yes,
son, and that moment at, what's the name of the place again? The
Tin Horn Flats.
Like, I'm visualizing that, and that's a moment, like that's a real thing. He'll never forget it. And as a parent, those are the harder moments. And maybe not even hard, right? But it's not just about us being true to ourselves and saying, that is wrong what they're doing to that business. And maybe through my platform and take a picture there, I can help. But our kids are seeing it, and that's what I've identified with in the last couple of years is this is a lot bigger than me and my little career, because I have these 3 humans who are watching me and sometimes don't like it, right? But it is when you get to that point when you feel like you can't lie anymore, or not even lie, stay silent. By doing that day, right? It's about showing our children and hopefully their friends and others who are watching that we'll never even meet, that if we stay silent, it's kind of on us.
Yeah, I've talked to my son. I mean, TMZ was out front of Tin Horn Flats. Like, I wasn't trying to sneak in the back door.
No, of course
I wanted to be visible going to this
you're
business.
Not going to be invisible. You aren't going to be invisible anywhere around here at a thing like that.
And I told my son in various subsequent conversations, I just like, look, it's not a popularity contest. If that's what you're looking for, I don't know. I pity you in your life. It's like, it's not about it. But I said to him, I go, listen, you can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but you have to be good. If you're in the middle, you'll get chewed up, spat out.
Yeah.
You have to be good at what you do. So make sure you're good at what you do, and then you can have your own opinions. And I've
done that.
I feel that way about a lot of people. I think a lot of the people that broke off and said, I'm not down with the nonsense anymore, they were good. They're good at what they do, or at least they thought they were good at what they did, and most of them turn out to be right. It's the people in the middle that are scared for their jobs, that are hanging on with both hands, who are scared to go out and hang out their own shingle and start their own network or business or podcast or whatever that thing is. Those are the people that are having to join the mob, that are trying to destroy the people that are not agreeing with them, not because they necessarily agree, but because they're so fearful and they're so mediocre that they have to stay in that group. You know, like what percentage of the people at the New York Times are like truly exceptional, and what percentage are just happy to have a job? And they're never gonna speak out against whatever the convention.
Or even say, yeah, you know what? I might disagree with Adam Carolla. He's a damn good person. He's treated me well. Like, there's even a fear to acknowledge that part.
100%.
I mean, I can't imagine what you've felt on that side of it from peers, friends.
I don't care.
Okay, I was hoping you'd say that.
I have no interest.
So great.
My only interest is accuracy. And once we're done with that, once I've signed off on accurate, then I'm not interested in anyone else's feelings. I would hope they would join me on being accurate. But if they don't, that's their problem. I always tell this story, and I don't know why, but it was burned into my psyche. I went to Maui several years ago with families and kids, friends. And the adults were all sitting at a table for brunch in Maui at a beautiful resort, eating papaya. And there's about 8 or 10 couples, sitting at the table. And somehow the subject of leaf blowers came up. Someone was probably blowing a leaf blower in the next whatever. And someone's like, aren't those things should be outlawed. They're so noisy and they pollute so much and whatever. And I said, oh, they're outlawed in L.A. And they're like, what? I go, I see them everywhere. I go, yeah, everyone's from L.A. I go, they've been outlawed in L.A. for 20 years. And they go, well, they're outlawed and they're illegal, then why are they on every corner, like all day, every day? And I go, because everyone who uses the leaf blowers are Mexican and they're poor. And they're all gardeners, and all the gardening is done by poor Mexicans. And the city doesn't like the optics of busting poor Mexicans. And everyone at the table is like, oh, come on. I was like, no, that's what's happening. It's a thing, and we have super woke, city council and mayor and whoever, and they don't like the optics of shutting down Mexicans who are working, And they go, that's not what that they don't. I said, yes, it is. And anyway, the whole table turned on me. And they were basically calling me racist and wrong. I ruined this brunch. But it was an entire group all looking at me going, what's this asshole talking about? It's just racist. What are you saying? And I was like, fuck all you.
Oh, you did?
I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You idiots are just going off each other's momentum. None of you know shit about this. I studied it. I know the story. Like, fuck off. And they were like, well, you're so racist. And I was like, I'll go find the article from the LA Times from 20 years ago. There was like a million Mexican march on the city hall in Los Angeles because they were trying to take away the things. And I was like, I'm not going to join the chorus of you idiots who are wrong because I want to have a good brunch.
Right. I
Sorry,
can get another
I'm not going to
brunch
sit
somewhere.
here and go along with you guys. No one knows what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. You guys don't know jack shit, and you're all pissed at me.
For speaking the truth.
Sorry that's what I do, and you're all wrong.
Did you stay?
We argued for a while longer, and then at some point I got my phone out and I typed in, Los Angeles Times, 1999, million Mexican march, and I fucking found everyone. I went, read this, idiot, and shut up.
You're insane.
Yes, but they're insane.
But there's
We
true.
could have gone along. We could have had a good brunch. You asked me a question. I gave you an accurate answer, but you didn't like the answer.
No, it's
So you
uncomfortable.
decided to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make it up. That's what happened. But I'm accurate, and you guys are reactive and emotional.
But this
And that's your problem.
is the beautiful example of where you're from, unfortunately, and what has turned into it. Because even when the facts are right in front, even when they're driving past Skid Row, which continues to grow and grow and grow by blocks every single day, it seems like we're going to ignore that, and it's all fine and it's all good. And yes, we're going to make sure that Gavin Newsom remains in charge of this beautiful state.
Yes.
Okay, you have a dinner. I need to wrap this up, but I want to.
I'm laughing because the guy I travel everywhere with, Mike, I always drink a scotch, just a neat scotch. And he's like, scotch and soda. And I'm like, I never ordered that in my life, Mike. Never.
That has soda in it?
Yeah, it's all soda. It's got a little scotch. Mike, come on.
Michael! He apparently is not that close of a friend. He's trying to mess
He
you up.
did it to me once at a club. He brought me a scotch and soda. I
A
said,
club
"Mike,
and here. I mean, I'm almost going to take this personally.
you should.
trying to
I
get
was
you
like,
off
Mike,
your
I've
game."
never drank a scotch and soda. Just drink a scotch on the rocks. And it's like, all right. Then you ordered it.
Okay, fine.
Still good.
There's water in the S mug right there if you
I'm gonna
prefer
have my
that.
water, but-
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the most important thing, and I know how you feel about those. They're 18. They're not babies, right? My daughter's almost 18 and graduating in June as well. What's your biggest hope for your kids as they, we give them these wings and it's time. It's basically time for them to take off. I'm struggling. I don't know about you. Like, so excited.
I never struggle.
Wait, excited, but is there any sense of, or is this just me, the sappy mom that's like, and I have 2 others that are already in college, but I'm like, this whole chapter of being a parent, it will never end, of course. I mean, hopefully they eventually leave my basement, right?
Right.
But in general, this chapter is ending and I'm so happy and proud and also sad because it went so fast, you know? Do you feel that? And what is your true hope for each one of them? Again, they're twins.
I come from a family of sort of nothing and nobody and no anything, and so my bar's low. You know what I mean? I look at my job is to provide and to create sort of safety, and that includes like living in a nice neighborhood where there's no crime, and driving a newer car with airbags and crumple zones and stuff like that. So my job is to provide and protect, and then sort of lead by example, and then my job's done. And I mean, of course, we can have laughs and enjoyment and experiences and so on and so forth all along the way, but I'm not going to be able to steer you into something. You know what I mean? I will explain to you that I worked really hard and that I used to be on construction sites and early in the morning and it was cold and I didn't grow up the way you guys grew up, but I had a work ethic and I had talent and I got to where I wanted to be. And you can do that too, or you may not. Like I can't really provide that part for you. I can provide everything but the motivation part. And I would hope that you would glean some of that off of me, like by going, well, my dad works really hard and he works on weekends and he does this and that and the other. But other than that, the chips have to sort of fall where they may. And I can't will you into happiness. I can't will you into success. I cannot traumatize you.
Do your best not to
do
traumatize.
My best I cannot F you up. But I can't make you into somebody who's passionate or talented or what have you. All I can do is show you what I've done, help you with anything I can help you with, guide you with guidance and some motivation or something, but I'm not going to be there all day, every day to sort of pick you up if you fall down. Yeah. And they don't need to be wildly successful. Right. And they don't need to be happy all the time. They need to be good people.
Good humans.
Like decent people who treat people and themselves decently, and then, my work's done.
Does it depend, does where you go depend on where they end up?
No.
Okay.
No. Well,
I'm heading to Florida this fall.
Oh, you are?
I already have my place. Oh, I'm out of Connecticut.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
I mean, along with so many people from West Coast, Northeast, New York, Connecticut, the whole area,
Yeah.
And I mean, you can follow your kids. It's like, no, they're going to move and whatever. It's healthier. Like, it's okay for us to go where we want, I'm at the beach in Florida. That was strategic. They're always going to want to come visit me because I live near the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's okay to say, okay, you've done everything for all these years for the family and for them and career-wise, and it's your turn.
Yeah, I've always said, look, I need to be a good dad and a consistent dad and a solid dad. I don't need to be the number one dad in America. That was Bill Cosby. Yeah. Look how that turned out.
God bless America. You had to go there with Bill Cosby, didn't you?
He was the number one dad. And now look at him.
He ruined it.
He ruined it. So no one wants the mantle of number one because they know you're next.
No. Okay, I have faith that it would not end up like that for you.
You don't know. Next thing you know, you're shopping for sweaters, something really floral.
Those were great sweaters.
I'm just saying, you start going down that path of number one dad. Next thing you know, sit next to Weinstein.
Here we go. Word association. I'll take the blame for the conversation going that direction. This is it. Word association with Adam Carolla. You're the only one I'm like, okay, this is going to be fascinating to see what you come up with. There's only a couple, okay? So what's the rule? Like 1, 2 words and you can answer with 1 or 2, whatever. Okay, Hollywood.
scared. Everyone in Hollywood is scared. They love the superhero stuff. Cowards.
Ooh.
Most everyone in Hollywood is scared, cowards trying to hang on to their jobs and hang on to their youth.
Oh, I know. I don't live in Los Angeles, and every time I'm here, I'm like, I wonder what you used to look like.
Yeah.
And you're 26.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, the Dodgers.
I don't care about baseball.
Rams.
I like football. It's a real sport.
Rams. Real sport.
Should have beat Detroit in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that was a good story with Detroit.
I love Detroit. Yeah,
right?
It's fine. Yeah.
This year, it's okay. Is Matthew Stafford done, do you think?
I see him on life insurance commercials, so he's probably still around.
About that time. Joe Biden.
Biden is, I'd say, disappointing. I'm sad. I thought we sort of could have steered toward the middle or got, whatever, and he'd sell out. I mean, just sort of did whatever someone told him to do. Like, he's historically a sad character. Like, he's just a race hustler now, and it's sad.
And I'll add this on sad because it's shame on that family for allowing him to be in this position. That to me breaks the human. I don't care about politics. The human side of that breaks my heart. So it's sad. Jimmy Kimmel, not sad.
I love Jimmy.
I know you guys are boys, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Okay, so one word to describe Jimmy Kimmel.
Generous.
Aaron Rodgers.
Generous.
That's not what you're going to say about Aaron Rodgers.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
I do too.
And I know you do. Yeah, right. So I just live in a world where I like Jimmy Kimmel and I like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I like the
generous and generous.
I like the Hatfields and the McCoys. They're both great neighbors.
I love it. I love them both. California.
The Hatfields baked me muffins, and so did the McCoys.
California.
Dump. Wasted potential. Sad. The Ryan Leaf of states.
Wow. Yeah, but Ryan Leaf came back. Is California going to come back?
Ryan Leaf came back?
Yeah. Sober, wife, baby, career.
But not in the league.
No, it's all just about football, Adam.
It's all about football.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I think it'll come back because there's too much valuable real estate here, literally. Like people just
and gorgeous.
They're going to have to reconstitute it sometime.
Okay, California. Marijuana.
It's a drug, and people ascribe sort of magical components to it. It's just a drug. Like I was yelling about this on my podcast. I talked to a mom who found a vape pen. And I said, is it tobacco or, nicotine vape or is it marijuana? She goes, oh, I hope it's marijuana. And I'm like, listen, idiot, this shit is bad for your teenage boy, And they're like, yeah, but the nicotine. I'm like, the nicotine's nothing. It doesn't it's caffeine, nicotine. Pot is bad for teenage kids' heads, you idiots.
I can't believe she said.
We've turned it into religion. If you went to 85% of the women on the West Side in LA and said, you found a vape pen. Is it nicotine? Is it cigarette, tobacco, or is it pot? They would all say, I hope it's pot. That's how goddamn dumb everyone is in this city.
That's why you're leaving.
That's why I give my one-word answer.
COVID.
It was a way to control people. That's all it was. It was politicians showing us what they wanted to do. There were politicians, there are plenty of politicians, not in California, but there are plenty of politicians who go, it's not my job to tell people to stay home or close schools. And then there are many politicians who leapt at the chance to control people. Totally. And they showed their hand. Yep. They went like Gavin Newsom, Lori Lightfoot, whoever. I went, oh, okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to lock people up, and if they defy you, you want them arrested? All right, noted. That's what you want. But don't talk to me about civil liberties or freedom. Please spare me the lecture on freedom. I saw what you did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's all out. The quiet part out loud, isn't that what they say? It's out loud now. Swifties.
Fine, but there shouldn't be adult Swifties.
What's the age limit, Adam?
15 and 4 months, 7 days, 2 hours and 15 minutes. There shouldn't be a bunch of adults, you know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, when I was in high school or junior high, you know, the Bay City Rollers were a pop band in the 70s, you know what I mean? If I said to my dad, I want to go to a Bay City Rollers concert, he would, of course, say no. But if he said yes, he would drop me off and say, if you're not, I'm going to smoke in the car for 2 hours. If you're not back in the goddamn car by 10:15, I'm going home. He wouldn't make bracelets and go into the concert with me. You know what I mean?
The bracelet thing is so weird.
You see the concerts, there's adult, there's males in their 50s, like, I got a bracelet, I'm with my 13-year-old daughter. It's like, dude, you're an old guy. You shouldn't be a Swiftie.
You're a perv. What do we do?
Yes, what are you doing?
That's how Travis got Taylor, is because he gave her a bracelet, right?
Yep.
It's so cute. Adam Carolla. That's the last one.
Better than you imagined?
I'm at word association. I ask you, Adam Carolla.
I say, I don't think about myself. I just truthful, accurate, and not sure why you would say Adam Carolla.
Because you're a voice for so many in this insane world, and generous and
not
kind.
Generous. No, not kind. Not kind or generous.
Good soul, good dad.
Consistent and accurate. And a good carpenter.
And toasty feet.
Oh, now.
Most importantly.
Most importantly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for doing this.
My
Means
pleasure.
a lot.
Sure.
Florida.
All right, here we come.
Florida. Go East, young man.
No kidding.
Thank you.